Hello, everybody.
Hi's.
What up, Internet?
Welcome back to the Headspace Podcast. It's your boy HSR.
It's your boy Chris Chrome.
And it's your boy Prophetry.
And this should be New Year's Eve when this comes out. So, Happy New Year's, the end of 2017 with us. Hi. Anyway, let's do
Actually, if you are watching this at New Year's Eve, thank you. I'm pretty sure you guys have better plans, drinking, partying, and enjoying the break of the new year.
No, you don't. We're better. Stop everything you're doing.
Yeah, nah, you should watch this. You know what? Have this on in the background while you're drinking and playing your board games or whatever you're doing.
There we go.
That's an effective use.
Yes.
Hit one of our playlists even, and then you can have us all night.
Well, wouldn't that also allow them to join the contest as well?
Yeah, we can do the housekeeping stuff.
There's a contest? Why
Yeah.
don't you guys tell us
Before
about
that, you can skip ahead in the description. You'll see the itinerary of the episode.
Like we have it broken it down every other episode,
Still,
right?
This might be the first time somebody arrives here.
Right.
And that's why we tell them they can skip it. So basically, we're doing the grind to 1,000 subscribers contest, and the goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible because we get cooler YouTube shit at that point. And in exchange,
And you guys get cooler videos in the end too.
Yes, please, Chris. And then essentially what will happen is we're going to give away some Amazon money, $100 to first place, $50 to second, third will be $25, and it's going to be all raffle style. And how do you enter this, you might ask? Well, you just need to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and enter a comment related to either the album or the review showing that you watched or are at least trying to participate in the discussion. And then boom, raffle entry 1. Now, what?
Ooh, me. Pick me.
Ro-
Pick me.
Ryan,
Pick
Prophetry,
me.
please.
Holden. HSR. What is up if I enter 2 comments or 3 comments? Can I be
Well-
entered multiple times?
So how it's going to work is for every video that you go to and you hit that like button and you enter that comment, you get a whole extra raffle entry. And
Wow.
in no bullshit sense, I spent a good portion of my week going through every single video and copying the comments into an Excel file so that I can work out a system, and I figured out how we're going to randomize the wins so we can actually drop this live. And so we're going to obviously scrub the comments. We're going to have a bunch of rows in Excel for every comment, and there's a person attached to that, and then random number generator, that motherfucker, whatever row it pulls, boom, logical way to do this.
So we
shit.
learned 2 things today. 1, you have a great opportunity to win a bunch of free stuff. And 2, Holden has no life.
Yeah, it was very time consuming. This is for you guys. But still, for every video that you do it on, you'll get an extra entry, and I'm going to evidently keep track of it. So for somebody like Lindell who has commented on every video, he's got a lot of entries, is all I'm trying to say.
And yes, if you tell us we suck, that's also a valid comment.
Okay, no, it's gotta be constructive. Holden, shut up because you keep interrupting everyone and you seem to be a fucking asshole. Valid comment. You suck.
Paraphrase,
not as much of a valid
you
comment.
suck.
I'm just showing the love from
Fair,
it.
fair.
All right, so on top of the Amazon money, there's a huge request list I'm putting together, and I'm gonna publish that as soon as fucking possible. And we know that you guys, some of you at least, really want specific albums done. So if you happen to win, on top of the money, you get to pick a request of what you want: a movie, a TV episode, an album, something. And then you get to pick who is on that show from the squad. We all coordinate, make that happen
question.
for you.
I've never asked this, and I'm sorry. Is it like one person though, or can they also select 2 or 3? Like if they wanted me and Ryan to do it,
Let's say logistically we can handle 3. You have up to 3.
Okay.
Anyway, so for each person who wins, they'll be able to request that review, and then we'll hit you up, and we'll do that live after we break that 1,000. One more thing that we got to take care of before we go on to the podcast. It's a segment I would have preferred to start with, but y'all were too hasty on this contest, and it's our favorite comment from last week's video.
Here we go.
So this comment is pretty long, and I'm going to read it as quick and maybe not as accurate as possible. It's from CDEBD, whatever, you could read that. Sorry, I don't even know how to say that.
CBDEBDEBR.
That's not really something. Sedebdebdur. Thanks for reviewing this. It's on the Brockhampton Saturation 3 review. You know what it is in the corner. So if you want to click to that one. So I got some information that clarifies some confusion you had in the video That's us. Chris spoke a whole bunch. I didn't even interrupt him for 10 whole minutes.
Yes, I finally got to break down the entire 22-minute video.
Anyway, so Amir is the guy on the album cover and is on the album covers of all 3 albums. The Billy Starr short film, that's the one he just covered, ties into the Saturation story. It will be made into a full film. Summer is the blonde-haired dude. Helmet Boy, Kevin Anderson, was Billy Starr. Each Saturation album has stuff on it. I'll just kind of ramble on. He summarized and clarified a fuck ton of points on this album based on our review. And these comments are super fucking awesome because it educates both us and then anyone else who popped in who may have just like discovered Brockhampton for the first time and may have had similar questions like, which one of the like 11 guys is blue-faced on the cover? Now we know. It's Amir. Anyway, thank you so much for the awesome fucking comments. On that note, I think it's time to migrate back into what y'all came here for in the fucking first place. Chris, what album are we talking about today?
Well, for this week's Headspace album, we went with Chris Webby's Wednesday album.
Ooh, I see there's a lot of Chris's involved in today's episode. I'm not that funny.
Well, I guess that's how you christen the episode.
Oh, look at that.
Coming back strong.
I feel honored.
So Chris Webby is one of those guys, for me at least, just my little context piece. I know of him. I know he's a respected and talented lyricist guy. I'd listened to one track on repeat before this album, Bars for Bars, I think. I found it randomly on Spotify. Never really knew much else except that he's esteemed and talented. And that's all I know about Webby before we go into this album. As usual, Barsful album experience. What about you guys?
So Chris Webby is an artist that I've become familiar with over the last couple of years, and he stands out to me in a very particular way. I listen to a lot of underground hip hop, and he's popped up on in particular some of the Apathy songs that I've listened to. So like in 2014, he was on the track Back in New England by Apathy, which was on his Connecticut Casual album, the Apathy's album.
Nice.
In 2015, he was on a track I really liked called Tread Lightly, also by Apathy on the Black Lodge. And the thing that stands out about him is that I normally, in like a good case scenario, find features on albums bearable. I prefer to just hear the artist I'm listening to most of the time.
Okay.
Chris Webby popped out because I liked his performance in both of those so much that twice I was like, who is this guy? He's really good, and looked him up. And even that happening once is very rare, but the fact that it happened twice with the same artist was particularly impressive. And ever since, I've been kind of following him online a little bit.
I can say Killer Mike had the same impact on me this year.
Nice.
Not gonna lie.
Nice.
You, Chris, not Webby.
Well, actually, somewhere within the last 2 years of me knowing you, you were like, listen to this guy, and I was like, okay, and then you blasted it in your apartment, and I was like, he's really dope.
I bet it was that one song that I know, like Chris.
Like, yeah, no, it was either when I first met Holden or somewhere in the last 2 years that he threw me onto this track, and I thought the guy was pretty cool. I do admit I didn't really bother to go look towards anything, so this is the first time I listened and sat down to a full Webby album, although what we've come to understand is it's not an album, it's a collection?
Well, we're going to make an assumption. As I understand it, this is called Wednesday because Mr. Webby, throughout the year, dropped a whole bunch of tracks on the particular chosen day of Wednesday. Makes sense. And this, from what I gather, is the best of that series that he dropped. So it's like a collection of songs that came from that series where as an actual album not to say it's not an actual album, but let's say a planned album, something that's orchestrated to be an album, maybe more of a concept or follow a certain flow. This is really more like a greatest hits experience. That's the only, I guess, forethought I had going into it. And it's important to make that distinction because it means that I shouldn't be getting there's no concept. Song placement isn't necessarily the same.
Right.
Things like that. And it's just something to take into consideration. It doesn't change that much, but it is worth noting when you start it, on that note, that's what the title. That's what I got from it. It's that these songs came out on Wednesday.
Well, it's also really cool that he picked Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. Sometimes it feels dreadful. Sometimes it feels cool. You're almost done. So
we like to call it Hump Day in the office place.
There we go. There's that too. But I like how I guess for me, I like how he's trying to make Wednesday a fun day, trying to get you through the rest of the week with some really dope bars and some dope lyrics.
I'm going to be honest. I think that probably the number one and maybe only reason he chose Wednesday is because it's an alliteration with his name. I think he calls it Webby Wednesday, and that is something that is much more memorable. So I think that most people remember Webby Wednesday as like a term, just it stands out, it pops a little.
It's more catchy. It's
Yeah.
Fun extra fact, webinars, also fun with Webby, and stuff like that tend to drop on Wednesdays because it's the deadest day at the office place and stuff like that. So
interesting.
It is just a good day to do a weekly series on.
Actually, that's true. Even on Tumblr, it's like one of the best days for posting content is Wednesdays. I think maybe even Instagram. It's a very good day in general.
There's a lot of from what I know, there's like it's Monday. There's different days. Like you got Man Crush Monday, Women Crush Wednesday.
No, that's
so,
not
like,
the same.
Different...
This is more of like if you want to capture an audience's attention and get them to pay attention to your content, the best day to drop some shit is on a Wednesday. Okay. I believe what you're describing is more niche, random ass days to fit themes. Not really in the same vein of things. Not trying to be an asshole, people of the internet.
Listen.
I'm trying to provide corrective information for everybody.
I need to be taught sometimes.
Digress. I don't hate Chris. I'm not that mean. Okay, that was like weeks ago. Holden, get over it. All right. The album cover is fucking dope, right? Because if you actually look around the sides, you'll see the different little caricatures of the various elements that are explored throughout this album, aiming at this figure of him walking, and it's all got like this bluish background and color hued one way, and then Webby in like stark black and white clothing walking in the middle. That's right, I dropped a Chris Chrome motherfucking analysis on this cover because it was wicked.
Really?
And
so
when I really
what are the characters on the side?
What is the gun? And it makes me think.
You've got Ursula's arm. You've got the blue shell from Mario. You got the Worcestershire
these are all
cat.
shits he's referenced.
I was asking you if you knew them.
I mean, I can barely see it from this little fucking thumbnail, and I wasn't ready to write it down. Anyway, you're right. Please keep listing them, Christopher.
Marijuana plant, a mic. There's a hand with a gun. There's a castle. There's Aladdin's lamp, and there's a basketball net. And I can't really see what's in the net right now, but that's initially all it is. And I think it's really cool that he brought a lot of these nostalgic things up because a lot of this are from my childhood, and there's a lot of content in here and a lot of nerdy content in here that is kind of cool and really nostalgic, I'm going to say. Yeah. Like, it's just cool to think about, oh, wow, like, we saw the same video, we saw the same this.
What's really, like, cool about that is on top of that is really how it connects the songs. Without spoiling it, I'll make a reference when we get to the second track of this album just to tie it directly to it. But, Ryan, do you have thoughts here? I don't want to be rude.
I don't have much to say on the album cover. It's nice. I like it.
So what we can tell is that Ryan's raw thoughts on this shit was nada.
Like Robert Downey, like Iron Man, the kind of man that knows no one can beat me, the kind of man.
Okay.
Oh shit, mumble rappers watch out and politicians watch out. Chris Webby is in the building.
Honestly, that's a great summation of this. I started with an unfiltered barrage of lyrics. It starts off with kind of like he hypes himself up, like he's the shit. A bit of credence, a bit of hip hop there, and then he goes on the mumble rapper community. I don't like the term as much, but like that community of ignorant rappers.
Yeah.
So I want to be specific. It's more the ignorant guys, and I quoted this lyric, and this is what sold me. I mean, this shit is a job, right? And see, these kids ain't even trying, son. If you ran a business and they work for you, you would fire them. So why you praising them for half-assing the shit you listen to, not dissing you? I'm just asking what the fuck has gotten into you. And I was like, that's a particularly well thought out point I wish I had personally thought of at some point in my life, but Webby beat me to it. So I'm happy that I heard that idea. That was cool. That's cool. A good way of framing it. Like, make them try. That's all he's saying. And then he kind of points again to the power of the consumer. You choose what you want to listen to. You make them big or not, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes after literally every relevant U.S. politician. All of them. maybe like 15 of them. Still, like as an example, and Jeff Sessions, you can suck a dick until your throat hurts. You old smurf, you trying to take my weed. Never gonna work. I'll be lighting up a doobie out on your turf. And Kid Rock, you ain't been that cool since Joe Dirt. He kind of like references a little bar about the guy just to show that he is politically inclined, right? And I respect him doing that. He's telling everyone in his first track here, I care about politics because it's important. You know?
Nice.
I like the Ted Cruz line. That was one of my favorites. And Ted Cruz, your face puts me in a shitty mood. Because it really does. Have you ever looked at Ted face?
Yes. Yes.
There's so much in you that you could probably have a clit in boobs. And Marco Rubio, you're soft as fuck. And Ben Carson,
Somebody wake Ben Carson up.
And that's like, to me, like, it's fun, right? Because I did pay a lot of attention.
Doesn't he like slay Ben Carson, or is it Mike Pence at the end?
Mike Pence. And he goes after Hillary too. And I think one of my favorite parts of that was, it's not that I don't want a woman president, just not you, you know? And like, I just, overall, I was pretty fucking impressed, right? Because you have to understand, I came into this with a limited expectation, except that I knew Webby was kind of smart and Webby could drop bars. And I like the beat. The beat has this kind of good, catchy feel. Ryan usually drops the instruments and fun stuff that's used. I like his flow. I like the fact that he keeps flipping his flow to reflect different energies throughout the track. Like, this is straight flossing in terms of his technical skills. I was really impressed. Then it kind of stops, and then it just like comes in again at the end and wraps it up. For me, this track is a fantastic example of, I guess, Webby for smart people. I'm going to give this a 4.5 on 5. I was really impressed, but it is also not flawless. It kind of drags on a little bit. It's like 5.5 minutes long.
Yeah, well, one thing worth noting is that this is almost more of a freestyle, really, than a full song, in the sense that, like, I don't think that there's any hook in it. It does have a beat, but it's kind of freeform, right? So kind of like that classical freestyle. I really dig the drum beat. I love the jazzy trumpet or trombones. It's got like a great feel to it. It suits the mood. The thing is, like, too, Chris Webby has a really great delivery style. He's very clean and crisp. Definitely draws from Eminem and you know, you can kind of see some of those influences. But I think personally he's distinct enough to stand out. Like, I hear Chris Webby and I can recognize him immediately. And he also has a lot of emotion in it. There's this like smooth flow, this constantly smooth flow, and he really packs a punch with it. And this is like one of the things that like right away stands out to me is that there's a simplicity to his lyrics, but it's not like a bad simplicity. It's good, right? Like he's got this great direct approach that I think anyone listening to will understand, regardless of how smart the listener is. But the listener will feel pretty smart too, especially that first time they're going through, and he's kind of got these like, the way he delivers it, it's like this mix between his delivery style and the things that he says, and it feels like there's a good punch to it. He's like nailed this style.
Nice.
You know, I think Holden covered like a lot of the lyrics that I like. I did like that he decided to approach political figures and approached across aisles for the most part. I mean, obviously he focused a little bit more on Republicans who are in power. But I enjoyed this as a freestyle, and I gave it a 4.1. You know, it kind of like, it's very listenable. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. I like the beat. The Webby came in crazy hard. He's got great talent, great technique, great flow. My only issue is, and it might just be me, but I don't really care about the American politics anymore. I'm kind of in and out following it. And it also makes the song a little dated for me, because in the next 4 years, if shit changes, it's like you're bitching about Trump and Hillary, but if shit changes, I don't know. For me, it's going to take away a little bit from the track.
Can I just ask something to that effect? Do you feel similarly about like when Eminem in the past has made political statements? Do you feel now looking back at those
actually
tracks?
I was thinking of a point. There is a song from Ice Cube, and I wish I remembered the track, but he goes, "This is 2003," and every time I hear that song, I'm kind of just like, for me, it's dated. It's like this isn't 2003 anymore. You know, like this isn't what like. And again, in 4 years from now, if Trump is still president, hey, fine, you got lucky. Like, the song's still kind of relevant. But if we have a new president who's completely, like, left field or off the grid, it's like, I don't know. I listen to this track, and he goes on a hard rant about politics, which, again, it's really interesting that Webby is politically inclined. He knows what's going on. He's well aware of the news and the media, but I'm just like, listening to this particular song, for me, I'd be like,
may I interject?
I don't really care about Trump at that point. You know what I mean?
But,
Okay.
Well, on the one hand, all this stuff is still actually really relevant, so
Yes.
it makes sense. On the other hand, this is where the part where it's not really an album, it's more of a best of a particular series comes off. And, like, there are times where you want to drop songs that say something. You know what lyric never gets boring? Dolores Tucker, Mr. Bob Dole, you too old to understand the way the game goes. From Tupac's How Do You Want It? And it's fucking amazing. It's dated, sure, but sometimes it's really, like, if it's documenting, in a sense, a particular time period, it's interesting. Like, Eminem going on about the war was kind of boring. But maybe Chris Webby's commentary on specific politicians goes down in a way that is different. Maybe you're right and it's completely dated. But I think that given the fact that this was part of this weekly series thing, right? This type of track is meant for that type of platform.
Right.
And I'm just trying to justify it. So that's all I want to throw in is you're not wrong. And if this were like a proper album, I would personally say that's a super valid criticism. But given the nature of how the song was released, and its thing, like he just released the second one, if I'm not mistaken. Like Raw Thoughts 2 came out.
Right, and again, I do want to make it clear, it's just me, because even on a freestyle, if this is a freestyle that's 4 or 5 years ago, and you're stating the year, and you're bringing up something, I'm still kind of like, well, I don't really care about that right now. I don't know. It's just me.
That's fine.
But I did give this a track of 4 on 5. It's fucking good, like straight up. He's talented. He has control over the pace between going quick and slow. He knows how to formulate these really cool nerdy punchlines. I quoted a lyric. I like the Lion King line where he's like, the kind of man that's destined to be king, just ask Rafiki. I was like, that was pretty cool. And throughout all the music I hear nowadays, everybody's talking about double cupping and sipping lean and all this shit. He comes in with cough suppressant medication. And I found that to be a little interesting that he took the nerdy approach to what we would call lean. So I like that.
All right. That's cool.
What did you give the track?
4 on 5.
4 on 5.
I just want to make, this is just a side point, like just a kind of thought experiment and a question to the audience, really in particular. What do you guys think about dropping political references in tracks? And here's, like my thought. It's also kind of like everything in hip hop, if you address culture in general, to me it seems like no matter what, it's going to be fleeting. Like, if you're talking about anything going on in culture, if you have references to The Lion King, to movies, like, these are all things that are now going to be perceived differently than they will be in 40 years. But what do you guys think? Leave a comment below. Let us know.
Because, from mine, I would rather see a rapper take a hit on the individual track to make a point that might make a kid care today. Every now and again. Like Mosh by Eminem. Inspiring song. Completely dated. Inspiring song. Anyway. You ain't never had a friend like me.
No, I haven't.
Any of me, I'm rolling with plenty biddies. That hometown pussy, I call it Kinetic Kitty.
So,
oh, look. Another reference to a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, this was Aladdin, apparently. I
Well,
got
Aladdin, Adam's Family, another... I think another Lion King reference.
No, I mean, Webby took the chorus for You Ain't Never Had a Friend Like Me, and it's from the Genie and Aladdin. That is why the Aladdin lamp is on the cover of this album.
Well, he also references Aladdin on one track, too.
But, I got the feeling that some of these symbolisms matched particular tracks, and I would hazard a guess that the Aladdin lamp is this song. I was okay with this one. I think it's really proficient. At the end of the day, he has a lot of weed references, a lot of weed bars, and I'm not the biggest fan of dudes who rap about weed all the time, and this is just for me, it's been kind of done to death in my head, and very rarely do dudes even deliver weed bars in a way that's interesting or stimulating or hasn't already been said by every other guy who smokes pot and interleps it into a verse that could seemingly be about anything. And then the weed bars, just kind of feel like filler to me. Like, oh, I had to extend my cadence, so let the whole world know that I was toking on the reefer while and it's like,
You know, now that you mentioned that, I kind of see it a little bit, because I'll agree. Whenever I'm listening to some songs and there's like this, and I smoke weed or I packed a blunt or I do this, I feel a little bit that it kind of cuts the flow of.
I don't know, man. Everybody can tell me, and I've had this conversation countless times, and it always comes down to keeping it real, bro. It doesn't matter what you do in your private life. All I'm saying is, as a rhymer, if you put it out and have to interject it into every song, to me, it feels a bit lazy. And that is going to be something that I think is a constant hit on Webby for me, this whole album. However, there's a couple of exceptions to that. In this case, anyway, this is why, this song had some lyrics, though, I really did love. I don't know about y'all, but when I heard I'm a hustling flow, I'm a whoop that trick, I had a small smile, right? Because
That was a good
it
movie.
made me realize this dude really does know how to lace his cultural references proper. Whoop That Trick is a surprisingly fun song from Hustle and Flow.
Oh,
I happen to really
okay, I didn't
dig
catch
it.
that reference.
But like Hustle and Flow is a great movie. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out.
It's a really good movie.
It's really
Cool.
solid. I mean, we got when 3-6 Mafia wins their Academy Award for the classic jam, Hard Out Here for a Pimp. Oh, then Juicy J carried that shit around anyway, those were good times. This song, though, has fantastic lyrics, though. Like, yeah, I get it up like an EMT, paramedics, no anesthetics, phonetic, energetic, with alphabetics and spreading the fucking vibe like a pathogen epidemic while I'm sipping my unleaded and puffing the devil's lettuce. See? Dope, puffing the devil's lettuce. Like, dude, and maybe other people can dig it, but, like, to me, it's like you're going solid, and then you just had to drop in the part where you toke.
That's what I was trying to explain a little earlier. It breaks that flow, and that when you explained it, I started to kind of think about it. I do feel like that sometimes. You got a good thing going, and then boom, weed reference, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I get you. Yeah.
So, yeah, to me, just to quickly wrap it up, sick beat, sick flow, sick hook. If it wasn't stock full of weed references, I would have graded it higher. But 4 on 5 because my interest in the song is highly diminished.
I think that I'm inclined to somewhat agree. Here's the thing: I don't typically like weed tracks. Like most artists I listen to, if they're talking about weed, it's like I'm not a part of that scene. I think it appeals to like a particular audience, and I'm just not in that group per se.
Fine.
That being said, I don't feel like most of the time when I hear those tracks, they feel a lot of the times like they're empty. Like they're not clever. They're just like, this is my life. Look, I smoke lots of weed. And like that could summarize some of these songs in completion. Webby, I feel like he comes with enough cleverness and technique that it negates the fact that he's referencing it.
Kind of like cover it a bit.
Yeah, like he like has that devil's lettuce comment. I feel you, but he's like he's mixing it in with a super dense rhyme flow while he's got like some interesting punches, and I feel like that kind of negates the fact that he might be using this like a little bit of a tired trope in hip hop.
Can I just? I feel like he's referencing Simpsons.
Okay, maybe.
Like, I just think it's another, because there's an episode
heard-
where Flanders goes like, oh, devil's lettuce. No.
I mean,
Okay,
I've
that's
heard
possible.
I've heard it as a bunch of places still. I guess really for me, it's not that it's not clever. I actually wrote in my notes on this song, he's really good with the weed puns. As in, however, he didn't drop one on this album that was new to me.
Have you heard devil's lettuce from a rapper before?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm sure I've heard it on Tech 9. I'm sure I've heard it on a few others. I can't cite it exactly. It is not the first time I've heard Devil's Lettuce. There is not one weed reference on this album that was the first time I heard it from Chris Webby. Now, maybe I heard a lot more weed songs or I've heard a bunch of stuff. I'm just saying that's the risk of it. It's that it's been so done to death. However you throw it into your rhyme, it's going to almost throw me back almost to some other feeling or another song. And that's why, now look, when we get to the obvious weed track, I'm going to have a very different point of view for a reason. This is not a weed track. This is a track where he's doing stuff and throwing in constant weed lines.
Well,
anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. I'm going to shut up now and let you
Yes.
talk.
So again, I don't personally agree. I think he adds enough variety that it makes up for it. Like I feel like in general, there's a number of things Chris Webby takes from other artists, and that is like in rap, like a lot of times people get criticized for biting. which is like, I get it if you have nothing but copying other people, but in general, I feel like all rap artists are pulling from their influences and taking things. I think one of the things Webby does well is he takes from other sources, but then kind of makes it his own, and I do think he does that with the weed stuff. You know, but that being said, for me, this like track was a lot of fun, especially because of the flow, right? You've got some lyrics like, it's like I was made up in the lab or something. The way I hit them with these raps and the tracks you bumping. They say I sound like Eminem's rabid cousin who's still on drugs. Fuck it, I'm on acid bugging. I'm passing puffing. The loud packed past my limit. I snap and kill it. My syllables are mad explicit. Take my enemies and kill them on a massive skillet. And as for the critics, I covered them in gas and lit it. Like, he's just, you know, he's painting a picture all right. He's not like having these super clever punchlines or anything, but he paints a picture well, and then that flow is just so entertaining. And I thought the fact he pulled in a Disney track as the back lyric, you know, the song sung by the genie, you ain't never had a friend like me. It's like, it was fun. The production's got like this organ, it's got a keyboard or something, it's chill. I'm not like super into it, but I feel like it works for the vocals he's got here, and it sets a cool mood. I give it a 4.
Nice.
You gave it the same grade after all that.
I enjoyed the song. I like the flow of the beat. I like the flow that he puts onto this track. One of the lyrics I like is, my idea of a vacation is to sit in my basement and write raps. And I really like that type of honesty in terms of explaining that you've never had a friend like him, because a lot of people on vacation and a lot of people that I know would rather go traveling and having fun time and stuff. Personally, I would rather sit at home and work on raps or podcasts with these guys. I mean,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm happy with my Nintendo Switch. That's been a fun deviation.
Listen, I play enough games, okay? So, but in all honesty, I understand that part. I understand being a little bit different and not wanting to really go out yet and trying to focus on certain crafts or certain things that you enjoy more than others. I like the message behind what he's trying to say, that he's very unique, and that I feel like he's kind of reaching out to people who also feel like they're kind of outcast with certain things or from certain social groups. So he's also trying to be like, you know, we are still independent. We can still do it. We're still cool people. And again, a lot of like childhood references, Addams Family I got another Lion King reference. To be honest, I didn't realize it was the Genie song, so my bad. But other than that, great little track, 4 on 5.
One quick question to you guys. Where do you land on the weed topping and rap? Do you like the weed tracks, or do you feel like it's overplayed?
How do you think? Them that already.
Did we?
I think we did.
Oh.
That's okay. We asked you twice. That's how badly we want to know. No, I'm serious. Not even
and
to
tweet
be.
me.
Not even to be. Yeah, Chris wants us to tweet him.
I'll give the answer for you guys. Like, I'll just say
that
your
if
answers.
you tweet him, we'll read it on the podcast 7 weeks ago.
I'll read
or
it
leave
on
it on a
podcast.
comment below and be included in the draw.
No,
comment.
tweet me. Just tweet me.
Or make money.
Yo, Rookie of the Year. I'm not a seasoned veteran or something. I don't fucking.
Juggernaut, flip it up a notch. I got no brakes and I'm running stops. So get out my way or get fucking squashed. I'm a bump it down.
So like, let's say I like this song a lot, because I do.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites on the album.
But before we get into it, I learned a fun fact because of Mr. Chris Webby, and just so you know, he's got science on his side. Did you guys know elephants are like the loudest? Like, actually the loudest, like on a decibel count, they're fucking loud. And he has a bar about louder than an elephant.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, Chris Webby's basing his shit on real. Look, this song oozes grind. He flosses his intelligence. You can see his appreciation of culture all over. Chris has listed multiple cultural sources already, just to give you an idea of where he's at. My favorite line in this whole thing is, I'm a king up in a world full of pawn motherfuckers. I'm an artist to the end. Bob Ross, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, I love that line so much.
I'm just like, that's the best line on the album. I'm exaggerating.
It is one of the most memorable lines.
I like the straight up intro line where he's like, baby, I've been speaking my mind since Ocarina of Time. I played Ocarina of Time, so I love that.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That's not even on the same league of Bob Ross bars. Look, Bob Ross was kind and gentle and painting landscapes. So
Bob Ross put me to sleep. He was
but
the dude that was like, you're going to bed now.
You know what, Chris? This is a hard bar, all right? And that's just what it is.
I'm pretty sure he's just using it because Bob Ross became a fucking meme in 2017, and everybody's gonna fucking remember it.
It's because we all love Bob Ross. And
I'm not saying I don't. It's just
you just said you don't.
No, he was the guy that put me to sleep, and I enjoyed watching him so I could fall asleep.
What I'm trying to say is Bob Ross is a cultural fucking icon. He's not just a meme of 2017. He is huge and like well loved and respected by people all over, and he is an artist to the end, as in he was an artist up until the day he fucking died, motherfucker.
It's a great line.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's not because he's a meme.
Yeah,
I have
I like
too
that
much
line
respect for Bob Ross to let you diminish him like that.
Fair.
I digress. The beat's hype. That chorus has been stuck in my head literally all week. Like, Rookie of the Year, and it doesn't like leave my head, and I just kind of
when I came up, they labeled me a veteran Rookie of the Year. I was starting off pedaling.
Sure, it's not the greatest lyrics, to be honest. I don't really like the chorus that much. I think it's kind of a weird chorus. Like, you've clearly been in the game for a long time, and I guess that it's a criticism on that. I don't really know. I didn't like the hook in terms of words, but the melody and flow and everything makes it better. It's one of those ones where it's an earworm. It's like a Katy Perry hook to me. Like, it gets stuck in my head, and then I love the song. And it doesn't matter if I like the lyrics or not. It's that good. So 4.5 on fucking 5.
Yeah, I've got to say that I also really enjoy this. This is one of the tracks that, like, after listening to the album, that I found myself kind of like quoting lines from. One thing I've got to say is the production's pretty interesting. He's got this organ that's kind of constantly descending for each few bars, and then going back up and descending. But like, what I thought was really interesting about it is if you pay close attention to the percussion, there's 2 different sets going on. And so like typically what's happening is there's kind of this more classical hip hop style, maybe like a boom bop ish style of drums. But then every few bars, when they're like trying to build it up, they bring in the trap percussion. And I actually think it works really well here. I think it works to great effect in helping build the track up and giving it this greater sense of gravitas as it moves towards the hook. There's also some pretty great lines throughout this thing, One thing that stands out about Webby is we've already seen a little bit of the nerd bars, but he really goes in on the nerd stuff this track. Ocarina of Time reference, but he even says, I represent for that nerd life, and I've been a monster, you heard right. When the moon's out, I'm a werewolf, so you better go get them searchlights. He's got this cool flow. He's got lots of nerdy references. He even has... this is my favorite set of lines. I'm a mix of Ferris Bueller with a little Gary Cooper as I'm researching conspiracy theories on my computer. Glasses like Uncle Junior dropping shit for my consumers with a cougar who can tutor on Kama Sutra maneuvers. Fuck the Romans, I'm a superhuman music spewing veteran. Megazord assembling Timberlands and a Letterman. Crazy flow, cool reference. I love that he brings in like Power Ranger Megazord and Ferris Bueller, like, and the Kama Sutra in like just a series of bars. It's a lot of fun, and it keeps it really energized. And one of the things that I think that he does really well is he takes these complex rhyme structures and he makes them sound very smooth, easy to listen to, at the same time as he takes really simple ideas that everyone can understand and he makes them feel like they're even more complex. So there's this barrier to entry that's very low, but the people, no matter who you are, you listen to it and you're like, yeah, you can feel those bars hit. It feels like he's targeting the dork rap population, as Rittz would mention, which means that the next track's feature is kind of ironic. But I gave this a 4.5. I really like this track, one of my favorites on the album.
Cool.
I gave the song a 4.5. I think he really went in, and again, he does what he's best at: crazy flow, able to keep a certain type of attitude throughout the verses, and he doesn't break character. I feel like already we are 3 tracks in, and I get this certain type of like he's now defending himself in terms of where he is in the rap game. I feel like he's acknowledging that he's coming up. He's acknowledging that he's doing what he has to do to chase his dream. My only question is, have you been on a double XL Cypher? Are you big enough to be Rookie of the Year is my question, or am I just not?
I would say those are questions you could have Googled. at any point prior.
Right.
To
Well,
this
I can interject with the answer, which is that you know, we were talking before. This guy has been featured on a few other underground artist track, like Apathy, who has been around for a while and is pretty recognized in the underground community. And he's already surpassed Apathy online in followers. He's got nearly, like, I think 150 to 200,000 followers between platforms, which, you know, for an underground artist is, like, very good.
Okay.
Is very good.
So I guess moving from like underground to like, what would you say? Not like mainstream or nothing, but like.
No, but I mean, like, I think the way that this guy's been grinding, I think that there's a good chance that he's going to be like a very popular rap artist in the next 5
Fair
years.
enough. Like I said, though, the track is actually pretty bumping. The beat's very captivating. Like you said, the organ sounds going up and lower, fading in and then fading out were really cool. So 4.5 on 5.
All I'm gonna say is, dude's got a wiki page dropping shit off since like 2008. So he been in the game for a significant period of time, and maybe I don't know what that means in terms of accolades. It's just saying he's been at this for a significant period of time.
Yes, but I'm going to say now that I've seen his growth since I even started following him in the last couple of years, and he's gone from having like somewhere like 15, 20, 30,000 followers on YouTube to having like 150 YouTube. Like, you know, he's blown up heavily in the last year.
Anyway, let's talk about Dazed and Confused. All I can say is hearing Rittz on this track, and we did our Rittz review in the corner, I stand by everything I said on that fucking review, and you guys can dislike it all you want. But this song is definitely one of my least favorites on the entire album. On a concept level, it's just weak sauce. Oh, these women are taking control of me, and I allow myself to be manipulated by these crazy vixens. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I've just grown out of finding that relatable material, but it just kind of sounds like you're a sucker and you're trying to put some blame on someone else. That's what this whole song sounded to me. Now, there are good lines like, wanted to tell her it's over, but the minute I get the nerve, she starts to sip again. It's like a whipping at a visit with a hypnotist. She uses her lips to be manipulative. Like, it's clever. But they're always clever. Even Rittz, they're always good. It's just the subject matter is boring to me. Tats all on her skin with a choker. Come and be the Harley Quinn to my Joker. It's so corny. It's dorky. It's like, and I'm going to let you elaborate a little bit on that because you got that preface, but this is the corniest, dorkiest, boringest, whatever. It's technically proficient with a dope-ass beat, so I'm going to give it a 4 because I recognize that it's my personal interest in the subject matter that's blocking me from enjoying it, and it's well executed, and it's well delivered, and it's everything it's supposed to be. But it totally makes me respect both these guys just a little bit less as men.
So I find this song so strangely ironic and odd. Look, here's the thing. I actually enjoy it. I think that what weirds me out about it is that Chris Webby kind of fits in pretty well to the dork rap style of rapper that Rittz called out on his recent album. Like, Rittz, like, drop the mic, dork rappers, right? And now Rittz is performing with someone in this category. Now, like, I don't fault it. I like this dork rap, this nerd style rap. I think it's great. But I find it so strange and a little bit hypocritical that Rittz is showing up on this track and is like, hey, yeah, sure, I made that track, but I didn't really mean it. I was just trying to say something that people could connect with. But now look at who I'm performing with.
Do you guys just see the dislikes coming?
But I say that in, like, I don't really care. I think Rittz did pretty decently here.
Same fucking flow. Like,
I don't really care that much about the same flow. I thought the ideas that he had were a little bit more interesting than some of the other stuff I've heard from him. I like that idea of, like, finding a pentagram, like she's casting a spell on him, and I'm not even normally into, like, the love songs, but I thought that this was. Here's the thing. I agree with Holden in principle that this style of song can be kind of corny and overdone. But what I like about it is that, and this is why it's even just stranger to me, he does a really good job, Chris Webby in particular, of just painting this kind of picture of this scene, right? Like, You got me caught like I stepped in a bear trap with the witchcraft till I crawl back. When you're next to me, I'm in ecstasy. See, the sorceress has got the recipe. Like, the choice of words talking about a sorceress, it's like this kind of fantasy, abstract fantasy that he's discussing real world issues in, which is by itself like a pretty dorky thing to do. So I'm surprised that Rittz, who's critical of it, is on it. But I enjoyed the track. I thought it was fun. It's got piano chords, synth effects, this electric guitar towards the end. I don't really love the beat, but it's fine. It suits the purpose. I give it a 3.9.
I give it a 3.5 on 5. Webby's good. Nice verse. He talks about he's dazed and confused with these women, and he doesn't know what to do, and he's feeling trapped, but he likes it, and all that. Rittz killed it for me. And it sucks because I like Rittz and I like his music, but it literally sounds like the other 3 fucking love songs I've heard him. No Sleep, fucking Party with Tech 9, and whatever other song. It literally sounds like the same type of verse, the same style, same flow, same presentation. Nothing's changed. So that kind of killed it for me, straight up. Like, I could have listened to another song and been like, all right, it's the same verse, cool. So 3.5 on 5.
Alright, I guess what we're establishing is the middle ground might not be his biggest forte.
And a therapist and a shaman who got some ayahuasca. Cause surviving in this game that's full of irritants.
Oh shit, it's Eminem on a Webby album.
Oh look, forget that. This is a very beautiful interpolation of Rock Bottom. When I say beautiful, I mean it's done with pure respect. Like, he keeps the flows proper. He does the intro right. And then he takes the content and even what the song's about is very relatable to the essence of what Rock Bottom is. His purgatory, this middle ground. And Eminem's Rock Bottom was his purgatory there. And I loved it. I thought it was literally like one of the best songs on this album. The beat was stellar because it was kind of rock bottom-y but different enough to still be unique. He hit it proper. My favorite line, and it's because I guess it was so fucking personal to me, is like, I'm some kind of spoiled 1%er, and get the facts. Shit, I'm the product of a hard-working middle class. Just because I wasn't busting a pistol or flipping crack, it doesn't mean I don't got a story worthy of written raps. And like, the whole song's kind of like he's stuck in the middle ground. He's in the middle class. He's not gangster enough to be there. He's not rich enough to be there. He's put all this work in. He's quasi-famous, you can say, to answer your question, I guess, from previously. So he's famous enough that, like, obviously we've heard of him prior to doing this, but is he famous? No, and he knows it. And so he's just kind of writing this song, coping with that, and it really resonated with me in a very relatable way. It was interesting. It framed everything proper, and I'm giving this a 5. It blew my fucking mind. It was really amazing to me. I heard it the first. It's one of those songs where if I'm feeling like I'm having a bad day, like if I'm feeling like I'm gonna give up, I can put this on, and Chris Webby inspired me. You know, like that's
Good
a beautiful gift to get from an artist. And when you can find those songs that make you feel like that, those are 5s in my life. 100.
That's fair, man.
With the 3 fires?
No.
Oh, okay.
What?
Just 100.
Wait, what are you talking about?
There's 100 emoji. It's just a red 100.
Oh,
and usually
okay.
go like 100 with 3 fires. So.
I like to make fun of that shit because it's anyway. If you put it like that, you're just copying everyone else. So instead of looking cool, you look like anyway. I'm not gonna criticize everyone.
Yeah. So I also enjoyed this. This was like a surprise. I immediately recognized it. The thing is that Rock Bottom is one of very easily one of my top 3 favorite Eminem tracks. I think it's one of the rawest songs that he has ever written. So Webby did a really good job coming in with instrumentals that were clearly inspired by it, but they were a little different, maybe a little more rocky. They had this wavy guitar. It was a very simple-ish hip-hop beat, but I thought that he used it to great effect. I even like the title of the song, right? Rock Bottom versus Middle Ground. It's like a little bit of a play on words there. And I thought he did a great job of coming in and kind of discussing his issues in a way that and I think it's a challenging thing to do, which you have to give him credit for. M's track is about fucking being poor as shit and struggling through not being able to afford diapers for his daughter. It's this is I have nothing and I'm struggling to even survive. It's tough to come in and be I came from the middle class. You should also feel for me and my struggle in comparison. And yet somehow I think Webby managed to pull that off really effectively.
Well, there's a difference. Like, I feel like there's a difference between it. I mean, obviously growing up poor is fucking difficult. But growing up in a middle-class family, you deal with different things. I get it. The main thing is the money. Like, you have money. Yeah, I have money, but what I like to say to people, because apparently I grew up in a middle-class family, I might have grown up with money, but you grew up with better family values. You know the meaning of family. You know what for at least the people I speak with and how I see they interact with their life.
I would not make such generalizations.
Fine.
Yeah, I'm inclined to think that it's. I was only saying that to frame that I think that there was a challenge in executing this concept, and Webby managed to execute regardless of that obstacle, which, major props to him for that. I had also kind of quoted the same line as Holden, but I'd quoted a bit earlier. Unfairly percepted people making assumptions off my melatonin levels and the state I'm repping. Like I'm some kind of spoiled 1%er and get the facts. Shit, I'm the product of the hard-working middle class. And, then the rest that he said. But, it's very well delivered. He carries the narrative well. I gave it a 4.3.
And you, Chris?
Well, I quoted a different lyric.
Okay.
Shit, I'm almost 30. Still, I feel like such a mess. I added fuel to the fire until I had nothing left. Under stress with a life full of emptiness. Give my all and not a penny less. I just turned 24. Says it all. I feel like I haven't done much. I feel like this. So I can fucking relate to this.
I am 30. You don't understand. It gets worse.
I'm sorry. So that was actually a really cool bar that I really resonated with. Other than that, you guys said it all. The song is fucking great. The only thing is I gave it a 4.5 on 5.
Right.
Quick question to the audience. What do you guys think? Do you think that this was an effective recreation of, the Eminem track? Did you like what Webby did with it? What are your thoughts on it? Let us know.
All right, let's go on to Slow Down.
You can evaluate on words that was not said. Moving in the cornballs out of nowhere. I've been running through nothing but.
The biggest grievance with this track is that Lil Yachty is pretty fucking smart, because the dude's actually got a seriously good business acumen. He knows exactly how to make sounds that sell.
Who?
Lil Yachty. Because y'all is no catching me. Y'all slow as Lil Yachty's brain works. And I'm like, you could have picked pretty much any other dude. And I think
21.
Perhaps you could have really gotten away with that. And I know Yachty has said some dumb shit, but he does it all on purpose. He's sober. Like, the guy doesn't do drugs. He doesn't get fucked up. He's a sober guy getting paid. He's doing exactly what he wanted out of the game. I think it's kind of like, how is he stupid,
I think that's a really good counter argument, but I would say is like devil's advocate there. I think that Chris Webby is speaking to his audience more than to other rappers. Like, we can recognize the grind and that Yachty's doing a good job on the grind. But Webby, I think, knows that his audience has disdain for that style of rap.
And I respect that. But as a guy who, I guess it's a matter of education. If you're going to drop the pun, just make sure who you're taking shots at. Like, I know why they get mad at him, because Yachty's earned a reputation as saying dumb things. It's like when Gucci spent $500 on a haircut and probably made $50K off the move because of the social media reach and everything else. It looks stupid until you think about how smart they are. And that's all. I just thought when I heard that line, as a guy who's like paying attention to business, as a guy in here, and he said he's paying attention to business, it seems like too pandering for me then. If that's what he was doing, it's a pander line, and I don't really respect it. That line bothered me. That was just it. You know what line was dope? Was when Anoyd went, the generation, either it could go two ways, the Triple H shit or the Shawn Michaels leg. I loved it. I can't help it. I had my wrestling face. It was dope. That was a great lyric. This, also, another line on Yachty. Yachty's 18, fuck. Stop hating on a kid. You're like a grown-ass man who's my age. Take on somebody your own size, Even Uzi Vert's in his 20s, like, older. Yachty's 18. Like, he's 18. I don't understand why people expect an 18-year-old to be like this fucking prophet of sorts. Anyway, back to like the song. I think it's okay. It's got a great flow. It does its thing. It's just one of those songs that did nothing to stand out to me, really. because the way I would describe it is bars, cultural references, puns, crazy flows, dope beat. Like most of the other ones on this, with to me, little else really stood out except for how dope Anoyd was, and I think Anoyd outshone Webby on this track, and I like Jitta on the track's hook. Anyway, 4 on 5 for me. Okay, track.
I've got to say that, I didn't love this track, but I thought it was a lot of fun. First of all, that beat is really, really enjoyable. Like right from the beginning, I loved it. That brassy sample that they use, like doo 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 doo. Man, it's fucking great. And there's this like fast-paced trappy beat that I enjoyed. Can we like for a moment appreciate the fact that the song's called "Slow Down," and then there's like, the promotional image for the single was the blue turtle shell from Mario Kart, which is like the red shell, but instead of targeting the person in front of you, it targets the person who is currently in the first place. So that's kind of like it was like a cool little reference that fit in. And then he's, of course, got the reference in the track where he says, with a blue shell, you got one shot. If you mess with Christian, I'ma catch you slipping. Got banana peels in my glove box.
That was dope.
So it's like, it's fun. Now, like, is there a lot of really clever stuff in this track? I mean, not really. The cultural references are cool, and the beat's great. And the thing that really stands out, too, is I think I just really love Webby's charisma and his delivery. His lyrics themselves vary from track to track. Like, sometimes, like here, they aren't really super clever, but they still sound great if I'm not thinking about them too much because he has such a polished delivery style that's so clean and crisp. I gave this a 4.2.
Dope.
I gave the song a 3.5. It's not that good of a song to me.
It's okay. I'm not defending this one.
I don't know. I don't think that every artist on this track is dope. Webby did great. Anoyd did great. Jitta did great.
Wait, so the
Sorry,
part
that was
that you
a
don't like?
classic.
It's like I can look at the lyrics and look at the skill and be like, this is great. You guys are good. Great. You're talented. I just don't like the song. I can't
argue with that.
I don't know. Like I put it on and I'm
promise
like, I like the beat. It's awesome. I just don't like the song. It's something with it that just kind of throws me off, that I just feel like I'm not really going to go back to this more than I'll go back to like Rookie of the Year or even Friend Like Me or even Raw Thoughts. Like, I don't know.
My New Year's resolution is to not argue with Chris about stuff like that.
It's not New Year's yet. You have one last opportunity.
All right, Chris. No, honestly, in the interest of brevity, I would accept Chris's opinion as a valid thing, and there you go, internet growth. Hashtag moving on up.
In the interest of brevity.
Yes. So the Stickup is a different song on this album.
And they left me here with these broken dreams. So I swept them in this dustpan of my one.
In this track, the Stickup, what I took out of it is it's Chris Webby coming in to steal the game from other lesser rappers. It's a Stickup. And, he's got lines like, my adversary's gonna feel the pain when they tune in, they hear my name on that broadcast when I steal the game. The production's got this synthy, echoing melody. The singing hook is, like, quite good. It's quite catchy. It's an enjoyable song. And there's a lot of great lines in it. There's a line he's got where he's, I won't back down and I won't run. Unless we talking about the track. Even Yoda said I'm the rogue one when the Empire strikes back. Like,
Stole it.
Oh, what a great line.
Oh, so good.
I gave it a 4. I think it's a really solid song. Yeah.
Alright, this shit is pop as fuck, bruh. This is like Eminem pop song level pop. I heard Skrizzly Adams come in. I'm like, that's my pop, and I love my pop. My pop. So, and I'm not even talking. This isn't hate. I genuinely love a well-composed pop rap song.
Yep.
And this is one of those.
Yep.
Very eloquently done. So, yes, Ryan here did steal my good Yoda line that I wanted to quote.
Oh, sorry.
He knew it. He knew it. That's why he wanted to go first. I agree with his assessment of the track. And, I think this is around when I started to realize that what Webby's doing on this album is showcasing what Webby can do. So this is cool. This is different than anything I've heard previously, right? We're 7 tracks in, and we went from like the trappy sounds, some like grindy stuff, some politics stuff, and here's just a straight up fluffy ass pop song. Not fluffy in like a negative sense, but really it's so light. Like my mom if she heard this, would be tricked into bumping Chris Webby. That's what I'm trying to say. But my favorite lines other than that was, shit, I hit the wrong button on my notes. 1 second, people. But it feels like no one's home. I've been on the same shit, going through these changes, but I haven't seen a change up on my credit statements. And I love the fact that he's not rich. And he's been at this for so long. Because I've been at this for a while, and I'm not rich. So maybe just as a dude on the grind, I can appreciate the fact that he's not fronting. He's letting you know how it is. Like, I've done all this stuff, and unfortunately, it hasn't paid off yet, but I'm still doing it. Now, I think if you ever try to pursue any project, whether it's megalomaniac type shit, like being a rapper, or whether it's simple stuff like knitting, at a certain point, you face that moment where you wonder if it's worth going on, where the struggle becomes too real. Even in knitting, yeah. Have you seen these people try to take on their knitting fucking patterns? They go crazy when they can't handle that shit. Crocheting, hardcore stuff is what I'm saying. Gangsta.
I can't do it.
Well, all I have to say is,
Knit gang.
so if you like persevere and you move on, like I just take the lesson, man. You can have some shit, and I found it kind of nice. I get this a 4.5 on 5 because that beat, the popness, the flow, it was so good.
Before Chris goes in, I just want to throw out that to point that Holden made. My suspicion with Chris Webby, because he does mention how he doesn't have that that much cash, and he's like living at home with his parents. Not necessarily on this track, but on this album. I think a big part of it too is he's reinvested in himself a lot. I think he's made money that he's like, you look at his music videos and those things definitely costed a bunch of money, and he made a whole lot of them for this album in particular. So I do think that he's doing okay, but it's still, that grind is like really rough, and I think he's just starting to get to the decent point. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
After hearing both of you and getting both sides and the point of views, I have a problem with the music video.
I didn't even bother with the videos personally.
So we watched it.
I know we did. I don't remember it.
So
I remember
this
it. It was a weird
song
video.
is about him stealing the rap game and going to be #1 and taking charge and blah blah blah. Cool. Why is it in the music video you're a guy who works at a pizza store who finds out that the house you delivered at is a mafia house, you're gonna go rob it? Which I understand, you're stealing the game, you're stealing the chips. Cool. So explain the ending where the mafia dude gets up and basically turns around and goes, the woman who works at the pizza store with you, who owns the shop, works for me.
Because all these stupid music videos do this shit.
I understand. So my question now is, are you admitting that you tried to come up and fucked up, or I just want to know, like,
I think you're reading way too much.
it just seems weird to me that in a song with that's basically descriptive, like explaining how he's taking the game. In the music video, he ends up. Well, we have an illusion where there's a shootout.
Entertaining vignettes in the video.
I mean, at least let the video make you win. At least it's like kind of gives you that and reinforcement of the song that you're like rising up and stealing the game. You're gonna actually take it.
Look, I think that you need to stop. In my opinion, because we've been over this a bunch. The music videos are very rarely going to be exact representations of the song. It is the rarest shit ever. Like, if you look at the percentage of music videos that are, it's probably under 10. So keep that in mind, as like they're all just dramatic representations so that you watch for 5 minutes and then tell your friends. And if you do that, then they win. If you don't do that, then you don't. So by the fact that you talked about it and brought out its attention, somebody out there is going to want to go click on it. And then it ultimately meant it was a good music video, and it accomplished its goal from my point of view. Thoughts?
I gave it a 4 on 5.
I don't know. Do you have other ideas on the song?
I did like one line. No, I won't lose. Can't fuck with him. My intuition is from my third eye view.
Hold up. As Ryan pointed out, this is about y'all. What do y'all feel about this music video thing? Do you think the music video should reflect this song? Do you think that it's weird when they don't? Do you agree with Chris's assessment of the situation? Tell us in the comments below, please, and thank you. Call on Me is the following
Why
song.
do you sound like that?
You can hit me on the Wi-Fi. Send that location, I'm coming. I'll hit you high.
This song is freaking nice. I like the beat. I like the clubby, nice,
Yeah.
kind of like you can see yourself dancing with a nice lady as you're approaching
Yeah.
this music. But it also isn't like you have to be faded to enjoy this song either. So it's that good kind of club banger. His accent I don't know. It felt like a little weird. I don't dislike it. It just felt a little weird that he took the accent and put it on. That's cool. Lyrically, it's dope though. The whole song kind of uses technology as a pun to mac on a chick. So like, you can hit me up on the Wi-Fi, send a location, I'm coming. I'll hit your hotspot, get it, because of Wi-Fi and you're hotspotting. Girl, and then the hotspot's like a G-spot. You know, I give it to you like that. You can see them 3 dots when I write back, like in a Facebook Messengers and shit. There's 3 dots. You know it's simple, it's similar to a light snack when I bite that. Anyway, it keeps going on from that point on. Another one that really struck out to me, and maybe it struck out to Ryan too. I get the feeling it did, but call on me. I got unlimited data. I'll be quick as Sonic on my Sega. That line is just fantastic, and etc. And weirdly enough, Sonic's now on the Nintendo Switch, and it's just weird. It's just something that's now happened in the future. No, he's been on Nintendo for a while, but, you know, back in the day, he was cool on Sega. I digress. That is nothing to do with this song.
He also jumped to PlayStation and Xbox,
So I really like this song. It's a really, like, lighthearted, decent song. Alandon, which I thought was Aladdin at first, is excellent on that chorus. It just flows proper. Like, honestly, this is a feel-good song, but it's so intelligently done. Where, unlike the other one where I felt it was corny, this whole, like, cheesy bars on technology hitting on a girl, well, that just really works with the kind of guy Webby presents himself as, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true.
So 4.5 on 5. This song is fucking stellar.
Yeah, I've got to say, I enjoyed this song, too. This is very much not the style of song I normally enjoy. And Webby is a little bit of a magical trickster when it comes to that. Because he manages to do this a few times where he takes, like, the standard type of song that I don't like, and he takes it, recreates it for himself, and it works and pulls me in. You know, it's kind of like this summertime party dance track. It's electronic-y. The melody is, you know, some kind of synth, but it sets the mood so well. It just sounds like dope. And you know, yeah, it's got like some fun lines. I really like the call me young Star-Lord flying through the cosmos, but I got my iPhone just in case you call on me. You can put it on me, little mama. I think it dawned on me that I want to take this night to the limit, and I know you like it, admit it. Yeah, like, I just, I don't think I did justice to the flow there, but...
No, but it's okay.
Yeah, it was like, just an enjoyable track, and so this is the thing that really popped for me, is that Webby is really gifted at writing lyrics that appeal to a really wide range of people, I think. It's one of the things he's particularly good at. This song feels a whole lot like pop meets nerd rap, which is like a strange thing to say, and it's not an insult. I like it. I think, you know, my big point of interest is, like, if Webby keeps on working towards down this path, I actually think that there's a very wide appeal for him, and I really do believe that he could become really huge in the not too distant future. I gave this a 4.
I found it really cool how Webby basically just explained modern dating in 2017, how it's all about like Tinders and dating profiles and Facebook messages and all online. So for me, call on me was like a little bit of a pun on like call on me when you need me, and you know, you can hit me up on my cell phone because it never leaves my hand. So that was really interesting for me. I like the club poppy beat to it. I like how he threw an accent on it. It was great. 4 on 5.
All right, check the vibe, motherfucker.
Rise up, let the vibe set the tone that's gonna guide us. You just gotta get.
Mr. Webby wrote this other reggae-esque song. I don't know if it's reggae.
I would even say this is like ska.
Whatever the right genre is, I'm really bad at identifying it. It's got its feel. Again, he's got another accent that suits it, but it feels a little odd coming from him. Mm-hmm. Like, it just doesn't feel natural to his culture, is I guess where I'm coming from. I did really dig the lines, gotta let go and set your mind free, gotta stand up for what you believe in. When the time comes, you're gonna see vibration shape the revolution. I feel like this song kind of is using music for the platform it is, you know, finding your vibe, using it as a weapon, you know, like, but at the same time, kind of like blaze up and be zen. All at the same time. Like, the music will preach you what's proper, and I feel like it's a hybrid between those two ideas, which all of it like makes sense and stuff. The song it's really good in the sense that it's different. It feels really proper, but like the more I listen to it, the less I really like it. It's weird. I actually liked it more the first time, and there's not a lot to this in terms of real substance. I think it was really just flossing another genre for Webby, and he did it well, but I don't like it as much. And I give it a 4.25 because it really is pretty stellar for what it is, and for the range he's displaying, I'm impressed. There's nothing about the writing of the song that's bad. His flow is really slower, kind of singier, comes in. He doesn't even have a feature or anything, so it's just him holding it down. He's not even relying on a singer or nothing. Altogether, decent track, 4.25.
I gave the song a 4 on 5. I think that it was really cool for what he did following up the last track. I got this song to be like, if you're catching bad vibes in certain situations, if you're catching bad vibes around people, you don't really need that. I felt like he was trying to give this message of like trying to stay positive and needing to always progress and just try to be better and be good. So stay away from bad vibes. I could see where you get the whole smoking up type thing, trying to be mellow, relaxed, and zen. Yeah, that could also be there. So I give it a 4 on 5.
This is probably my least favorite song on the album. The thing is that I am a fan of ska and reggae, especially since I was young. I liked a lot of it, and you know, man, this just does not. It didn't hit me. I didn't like the beat very much. It kills it for me, and I didn't really get into it at all. Okay. I appreciate that. So this is one thing I will say. I do appreciate the extent to which Chris Webby is trying to add a lot of different styles onto this album. I think he shows his versatility. I think it's also from a perspective of, someone who is kind of like doing this. I don't know if it was a weekly or like monthly or releases, but he's releasing these tracks throughout the year, and I think he was probably dipping his toes in the water and trying to see like what people react well to and where he's strong and where people don't really like, what don't people really like. And I think that's probably like a solid move as an artist. For me, this is like the biggest miss probably on the album. I give it a 3.7, and yeah, that's about all I have to say.
Awesome. So twist again. La 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 la.
I got the wee man's number, so let's twist again.
I need to point out that previously I pointed out that I did not like the arbitrary use of weed lines.
Yes.
And I'm specifically using the word arbitrary, meaning random and seemingly pointless. If your whole song's about weed, that's okay. It's thematically appropriate to then drop your weed bars in. So this song was a complete hit for me, man. I know you like this Ryan, but too bad. Weed naps on my back like a Snorlax. Highest alien bouncing off the ceiling. I need it in my system in a minute that I record loud packed in a raw rap. I like raws. Raws are nice papers. All that to say, that was like, I heard that and I pictured Snorlax. And I've been playing Pokemon Go still to this day. So Snorlax is dope if you play the game. See it as like a tank. No, but like really, the line is hilarious because if you've ever partaken, you might consume and then pass out for like 30 minutes, wake up ready to go again. Like a Snorlax, using rest. It's fucking clever. That is the first time I heard a weed rhyme about Snorlax, but that was clever. Then you got when that wax pen is in action and the smoke filled a room like Mad Men, which is great. With those hash blends, I'm like Captain Kirk. When I get the perk, I'm blasting off till I'm lost and the stars never come down. Now, I've heard many people use the Captain Kirk in space line before, so it's totally not original. But I love the combination of ideas and thoughts in this track. It's fun, but it's also like self-aware. Like he's not like necessarily. What I like about Webby is he's more like matter-of-factly being like, I consume this much drugs in my life. Not like, this is the coolest thing about me. Not like, you should consume these drugs. It's, in his mind, this is why he does it. It almost gives some effort to justify his use and that it helps him like cope and shit. All that to say, it's not an aimless song about weed. It's a fantastic song about weed. 4.5 on 5. La 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 la.
I also gave it a 4.5 on 5. I like this track a lot. First of all, his vocal entry is great because the track kind of creeps in and then he just comes in so pronounced. I liked the slow finger snaps or the claps of the melody, and the melody chords, sorry, and the drums come in later. They're electronic. It works really well. It's got like the right feel and mood for it. His delivery in this song is really great. You know, normally I find the weed tracks kind of played out and boring in hip hop. Webby stays on brand in delivering nerdy metaphors and keeping it feeling fresh, and it's just fun all the way through. And he exudes personality. It's one of the like big strengths that he has. It allows Webby to keep things simple, stay interesting at the same time, and appealing to the most people possible. You know, Holden already like called 2 of my 3 favorite quotes, but I have one left, which is, you know, when he has this moment where he's like, Chris, light an incense or use some of that spray shit. Fuck, I can't take this. For Christ's sake, you're 28. Give me a break. All right, Mom. Then I go back to getting baked. Higher than Towley up on a balcony and smoking hourly and burning the sour D like a calorie.
That's some self-awareness ass shit. Recognizing it's not cool to be a 28-year-old man doing that.
Yeah, and it's great. That self-awareness is something that a lot of hip-hop lacks. It's something that Eminem used to do really well. I think he still does pretty well. And it really has like a stronger impact. This track was just great. It was great on a number of fronts. I gave it a 4.5. It's one of the best songs on the album.
We agree. Young one.
Fuck. Can I... Okay.
Just say what you feel, man.
So, for me, this was Ludacris's Blueberry Yum Yum, but by Chris Webby. Again, I did watch the music video, and it's basically just kind of like the rip-off version of Blueberry Yum Yum.
I'm going to ask you a question. Are you associating the songs, or are you associating the music videos?
No, I'm associating both. On this track alone, the music and the song and the music video basically to me is just, instead of how Ludacris did Blueberry Yum Yum with the whole gangsterish feel with smoking with the weed and having the towel under the door, Webby just did it with all the geeky comic book nerdy stuff that he usually says on the rest of the album, which I enjoy, and it was cool and it was really nice to listen to. May
I ask a question again? Wasn't Blueberry Yum Yum all about how Ludacris enjoys smoking weed in this particular strand?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
I get where you're getting at.
Awesome.
I do get where you're getting at, and there is a level of self-awareness on this song that he is...
I just think that, look, for me, and I'm not trying to be dismissive of your ideas or your opinions, it's just outside of the fact that the songs are about weed, I see, like, no similarities between these 2 songs.
That's okay. I do. I honestly think this is...
That Blueberry Yum Yum.
The thing is because I can also recognize the fact that Chris Webby is different. He's not going to do it the same way. But for me, when I heard the song, even forget the music video, when I heard the song, I was just like, this to me sounds like Chris Webby's version of Ludacris's Blueberry Yum Yum. It's like I could sit there and be like, so Chris Webby listened to Ludacris's Blueberry Yum Yum, got inspired, and did this track.
Nah, dude, nah. Like, Blueberry Yum Yum's like a mediocre weed song in a culture that has thousands of songs that Chris Webby would have pulled on that would have not been Blueberry Yum Yum to me.
Possibly.
I mean, like, Cottonmouth Kings has like 14 albums on weed.
Fair.
Alone. Anyway, I might be wrong. YouTube, you folks, do you guys feel that this is Blueberry Yum Yum Part 2? Let us know in the comments below. On that note, do you have further notes on this song?
3.5 on 5.
Okay. You're a weirdo, Chris.
That was a good transition.
Rabbit down the hole, don't know if I'll make it back. I cheers with the Mad Hatter and blaze with that.
Further thinking, I'm gonna just one more thought. I think he's more inspired by Bone Thugs weed songs in general. Anyway, Weirdo. He's a weirdo. I get that this is a song about feeling like a social outcast and etc. And I like those songs in general. Yeah. But it also didn't do a lot to stand out for me. There's one little lyric that like jumped out of my face. Doctor saying something's wrong with me, give him Adderall, save me, this shit done made me crazy, had ADHD and a case of rabies, shit, I kept my grades up, but my brain was spacey, had to chase me, my legs never stayed in place, see, I couldn't pay attention to what's in front of my face, I was in detention for something I shouldn't say. I can relate to that.
Yep.
I think that most people with ADHD were highly misdiagnosed, and it's not as much of a real thing as it. I think that there's something out there, but the idea of ADHD, yeah, you may have been diagnosed.
I was diagnosed and given prescription medication for years.
So what I'm saying is I don't believe that most of those diagnoses were accurate or apt, and I think that there's clear documentation of the government pushing pills on children who are normal hyper kids. And instead of teaching them how to focus and applying self-discipline and stuff, they drugged them up, and now you have a bunch of adults who don't know how to function. Look at that. So that really struck out to me in this song. But honestly, nothing else did. If you were to ask me what this song's about, I genuinely know it's about him feeling like a bit of a social outcast. Justina Valentine does a really non-distinct but good chorus. Like, it could have been any other generic female chorus. So it wasn't like, oh, her voice is strikingly interesting. It was, oh, that makes sense. It's the right move. And so it's an adequate track. It's like everything it's supposed to be, in my opinion. 4 on 5.
Yeah, I actually like this track a lot. It may be one of my favorites on the album. It's very catchy. You've got this electronic synthy melody, some piano, some claps. It's pretty minimalistic aside from the hook. But it works really well to put Webby's voice at the center. And this feels like one of the songs where he's, I think, almost the most distinct, in the sense that he plays around with a lot of different styles and kind of makes it his own. But to me, this track is kind of like where I feel like we're being introduced to some of like the real problems that Webby's got. And, like the Holden took a bunch of my favorite lines there, but one of the things that clicked in my head, while he was saying them and I was reading them over again, Webby does one thing super, super well. It's not just that his ability to carry around simple yet effective lines is very, very strong. It's that he carries them for a long, long time. Like, where a lot of artists will have like 1 or 2 or 3 or, really rarely like 4 interconnected lines where they're like moving something forward. Mm-hmm. Webby will like take a concept and he'll carry it for like a while with the same flow, with the same rhyme structure. He makes it, he just does a really good job of it. Yeah. I also liked, the what's the difference between me and you? Shit, I don't think like other people do. Shining like a holographic Pikachu. They say I never see it through, but now they're facing the palm like playing peekaboo. Unbelievable, inconceivable. They not I be seeing through what they feeding you. Brainwashed because I'm an adolescent who's bad at lessons and not accepted. It's like, he nails it. There's places on this album.
It's just worth noting that he completely and eloquently jacked the "what's the difference between me and you" flow. Like, yeah, it really was like it came from like the Dre track.
Yeah, true. The way he did it. Good call.
So that was just worth pointing out. Back to you, Mr. Ryan.
He nails it. There's places on this album where Webby's like rawness mixed with that simplicity and like complex rhyme flow reminds me of an older Eminem, but with his own distinctive flair that does make him stand out differently. And, like the intro to this track is particularly reminiscent. I give this a 4.6. I really enjoy this track.
First, you?
I gave it a 4 on 5. I like the concept of being an outcast. I like the concept of being a weirdo that he's trying to present to this song. He really does touch upon the ADHD, which, as I admitted, I have. And that's very relatable. And knowing how, like, our brains work and knowing how, like, we're given Adderall, we're given pills, and with what you're saying, this was all fake bullshit. So that even kind of sparks another discussion. Anyway, I like the honesty on this song. I like the power in this track. 4 on 5.
Awesome sauces. Let's talk about, I got the connect to the Big Mac sauce. It's at the grocery store, and you should get that Big Mac sauce. It's fucking delicious. Take that shit home, put it on stuff. Oof.
I'm very confused.
For no divine intervention, I'm just killing everybody that's in the line of succession. Yeah.
Been patiently waiting for a track to explode on is another interpolated lyric on this album. This one felt a little forced and contrived. I've been patiently waiting for a track to explode on. They don't ever know what I go down when I got my zone on. You better go long because my throwing arm is the same one I hold the mic with. It's so strong. And when you consider the excellent beauty of Patiently Waiting by 50 Cent and Eminem, this does not even hold a candle to it. I don't like this song that much. It's decent. I dig the bridge. The bridge is okay. That part I just quoted a bit from, but 3.5 on 5. I just, nothing about this stood out to me. I don't know. Call me lazy. I don't care. Somebody else fill in the blanks.
You know, I think for me, I interpreted this as like one of Webby's kind of ego tracks, right? Like I feel like most rappers have to have at least one ego track per project, and I have mixed feelings about those, but in this case, I do think he mostly executes it pretty well. It's kind of a simplistic beat. You've got this electric guitar that's palm muted. There's occasional organ spurts, the sort of generic but hard-hitting hip-hop drum beat in the background. It works, and there's some pretty fun lines here, like, I'm coming for the Iron Throne, got White Walker in my chromosomes from a place beyond the wall that you shouldn't go alone. I see flesh up on my frozen bones, eyes the color of meth that Walter cooked up in his mobile home. I like to go to war and bring that wild aggression, like Khaleesi's dragon every time I rhyme in a session. It's just like, it's fun. It's like got some cool references. I don't really think that it's supposed to do more than just be show-offy. And I gave it a 4.1 because I think it does that fine.
It's funny because even that line that you quoted is probably what made me dislike it the most. Like, some of the lines he drops are really fucking clever. This just felt like he was trying to reference the most pop shit he could reference. Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad. Like, it's not as clever to me as it just seemed not memey.
But I think my counter argument to that is that I think that what Webby was trying to do with a lot of these songs was he was on his grind and he was trying to release consistent content that would catch. He wanted things that would catch, and the way to do that is like have references to things that people care about. And I bet you this track was released around Game of Thrones.
And you're probably right, and it's as dated as Politicians if that's the case.
Sure, but again, I feel like this album is a compilation. We're not even really judging this as an album so much.
I'm gonna just counter it. The Snorlax weed line is gonna be generationally timeless, so it'll be dated in 20 years, but it'll still make sense in 5. Pokemon's still running strong. It's ran strong our entire lives practically. 2/3 of my life. When you take something like referencing Game of Thrones, sure, it's hot shit now, but once the show gets canceled, I believe it's going to go an entirety gone from pop culture.
I think that was like the point that you were making could have been sound. I think that the example you used was the wrong one because Game of Thrones has been a really big cultural phenomenon before the show. A Song of Ice and Fire was huge in the 90s.
I love the books. Don't get me wrong. But back when the books were hot, it was very not huge. It was cult following kind of huge, and then it got pop big. So to get the kind of impact in terms of the, let's say, the SEO value of playing on that, it really would, or not SEO, but the pop value of making those bars, it only really works with the popularity of the show, not the prior one.
Right, but to be fair, I think that when we talk about like promotional songs like this that you release in order to get a following, you're only trying to target the stuff going on now. Who cares? In 10 years, this song's not still going to be earning him new followers.
And
it's like
that's why I gave it such a low mark. I think Twist Again holds its own.
What do you think, Chris?
3.5 on 5. This song's boring.
That's all?
Like, yeah.
Just because I'm not stopping him or interrupting him. Anyway,
look. Just in my own defense, when this starts happening, I run out of shit to say. They've said everything. They've covered the entire track. Literally, the only thing I have to say to this is, cool. You reference making the connect to making money like a drug dealer. Awesome. You reference some popular stuff. Cool. The song's boring.
Okay.
3.5.
Sorry. There's my actual favorite lines here. I didn't quote. You see, I never been a fighter, I just kill 'em with my wits, and I'm smarter than most, so that's simple as it gets. Got a little bad thing licking on my dick again and again, like I'm living in a gift for a boomerang. I pack the hookah with a super strain, rolling with the Koopa gang right up in the sewer drain. Mutant ninja rapper, baby, I'ma do my thing while I'm maneuvering through your lady's nouveau ring. It's like, he's not saying anything super clever, but just the things that he's combining as concepts are so ridiculous, I found it really entertaining.
He kind of just...
like nothing there.
He literally just ran off a lot of the hot shit that came out in 2017.
Including the random weed line. Anyway, for me, that's fine. Microphone Killa is hopefully a better ego song, right? Because it sounds ego-y. He's a microphone killer.
Right?
You just move around it. Try to climb it, but the climate got your movements clouded. See the room is crowded.
I'll say it like this. I think Merkules murked this track and took the fucking show and everything. He was the best on it. I love this line. I'm feeling violent. I've been a tyrant since Pokemon. I'm pushing strong. I'm the OG like Obi-Wan. I'm going hard like a virgin's first booty call. Every verse will give him pins and needles like a voodoo doll. Sick, dope, fucking line. I don't know, man. That's just it worked out really well. It was cute, and I love the fact that Pokemon keeps coming up on this album. And since I just got a Nintendo Switch and Pokemon Switch has been announced, I'm just saying. Hashtag Pokemon's awesome.
Yes,
Cultural phenomenon of real proportions is what I'm trying to say. Pokemon will never be dated. What I really like about the Merkules guy is how he addresses how he's not a double-time rapper. So he felt compelled to make a longer verse just to make sure he had as many bars as Webby would put in. And I really respect that acknowledgement because it's saying, Webby, what you're doing is incredible. You got all this extra shit, but hey, don't think that just because you put in more words, I can't do it.
But it doesn't sound. He doesn't sound to drag it on. It actually is still smooth, still great.
Agreed.
It's like sometimes I feel like in terms of trying to do what the double time rappers are doing and add a longer verse, if you don't have that flair or that capability of still keeping it smooth, it starts to drag on. And he did accomplish the non-dragging part.
Okay, I have to just quick interjection. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I think. Referring to double time rappers, I don't think Chris Webby is a double time rapper.
Well, he's faster than Merkules.
I don't think his rhyme flow is, but he doesn't use more words or syllables. I don't think they're rapping at the same-ish pace.
I know that Webby's packing more words into lines than Merkules is, and when I say double time, it's a lot more of the fills. Webby doesn't do it exclusively, but he definitely will increase his speed and tempo to pack in a few more words to suit what he's trying to do. Whereas a good example is on the Strangulation cipher, listening to Merz's random slow verse next to everyone else's, and you really see the difference. Now, most of these double time Tech 90 guys, those chopper speeds, that's like really pushing it, sometimes even to quadruple time. So I'd say, yeah, Webby's double time. He's going twice as fast as the beat. And Merkules is kind of in between. He's not necessarily slow, but he's definitely not as fast as Webby.
I don't know that that's true. I'm looking it up now.
That's okay.
Keep going.
Other than that, I really like the line. You think you dope, but I'm actually sick. Hacking this shit back into mix gargantuous shit because it's really well done. Even though it's a done to death idea, that was well done to the done to death. I get it's a 4 on 5. I don't have a lot more to add to this one. The chorus was annoying. I'm done now.
Song was dope. The beat is a little bit eerie in terms of a Killa type feel. Again, right now I'm withholding on this. Merkules has destroyed this track and made it like his own. He bodied this. Webby, the thing is right now I don't see any difference in Webby's verse compared to what he's already given us. Yes, I know he switched up the tone with some of this reggae-esque feel. He gave us some poppy music, but in terms of lyrics and the content, I still feel like I'm getting now I'm starting to hear some repetition in terms of like, okay, I get it, you're a nerd rapper. I get it, you're this, you're that, like you like the comics, you like the nostalgia.
Classic track 13 comment for Chris Chrome. 12, 13 of any album, this comment will appear. Check all of our reviews.
Do it. But yeah, other than that, this song is, I gave it a 4.5. It almost got a 5 because it's fucking great. But I just feel like he could have done a little something different.
I didn't really like Webby as much on this one.
So I'm inclined to agree, where I didn't, Webby, I didn't think stood out as much as Merkules did on this track. I'm not so sure about the double time thing. I did enjoy like some of his, nerd references again. Like I think he referenced the man with the golden gun. Merkules has some pretty funny lines. Like, I love, I'm feeling violent. I've been a tyrant since Pokemon.
Yeah.
My potion's strong. I'm the OG like Obi-Wan. what a contrast. It's like gangster line mixed with nerd rap. It's so ironic. I kind of love it. The issue for me, and that was the other line I really liked, was my fan base will keep growing like Paul Blart's gut. Like, just like a silly reference, and yet it's kind of...
Well, the third movie's coming out.
Is there
Paul Blart
really?
3 is
I don't know
coming
what
out.
Paul Blart is.
It's Paul Blart Mall Cop. Kevin James plays Paul Blart Mall Cop, and number 3 is coming out. So, ta-da! More pop reference culture, whatever you want to call it. This is why this is there. Thank you.
That's the thing, though.
Anyway, for anyone who doesn't know, as like a quick aside, Merkules is a Canadian rapper who has been pretty successful in the underground scene. He is on the Snack the Rippers label, I believe. So, worth checking out some of his stuff. I thought he did good here. Unfortunately, I don't really love this beat. So that kind of hurts the track a little bit for me. There's this trappy beat, synthy bass in the background, electric guitar solo towards the end. I just didn't really feel it that much, but it was still kind of fun at moments. I gave it a 3.9.
Awesome. Wild things. Do-do-do-do-do-do. I don't even know what melody that was. Shut up, Holden.
Battery up in my back like a Mophie. Spider web emoji up on a trophy. Rockin' all black like Chanel.
Yo, this to me is just like when Hobson or Eminem does like the Psycho thing. Sorry, it's more like when Hobson copies Eminem doing the Psycho thing. But now it's Webby copying Eminem doing the Psycho thing, or maybe copying Tech Nine, or it's like that "Am I a Psycho" kind of feel.
Yeah.
Lamer. Look,
Well, I want to just defend the lamer part. The sampled beat in the
where
back.
the lions and the tigers and the bears go.
He's referencing the book,
Okay.
where the wild things are. So there's
Where the
that.
lions and tigers and bears is probably more about Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz.
That too.
Places that you wouldn't dare go. Blaze the trail without hesitation. Tell me why you're waiting. Are you scared, bro? I do like that line, but it's corny. It's just, I like him as a corny guy. He's the kind of guy where when he's corny and he's trying to be corny, it's mad good. But when he's trying to be like hard and it comes off corny, it's just corny. In like the bad way. In the Kanye West Bound 10 kind of corny. And that's what I like. It's not that anything about this song is really bad or anything in the sense of what it is. It's just a fluffy, psycho, scary times.
Well,
kind of
that's
song.
what I was trying to get at. If you watch the actual live action, the live movie of Where the Wild Things Are, this is a generic sound in the back of when they're walking around and they're doing this, like where the little boy ends up with the wild things and they're doing
what that movie is.
Dude, there's a book called Where the Wild Things, and there's a little boy who wants to escape from home because he thinks he's a fucking beast.
That like directly related to this.
This is what the whole entire song's about. This kid. Okay, look, the book basically describes a kid who thinks he's a monster and wants to go to this faraway land, and he falls asleep and goes into a dreamland where he's with these beasts. It's the entire book, and then they made a live-action movie, and if you watch the live-action movie, whenever the beasts are kind of walking in the group and they're kind of getting up to mischief, the exact sample of do, 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 do is what's playing in the background the entire time. So,
now that you've explained that, I'm lowering my grade to a 3.5 from a 4. Because I actually think it's stupider and cornier and lamer now than I previously did.
Well, hold on. Why? If he's the entire album, he's been already giving nostalgic references and stuff. This is part of the nostalgia.
Didn't
this was good as a book.
just shit on the fact that like it was redundant at this point?
Yeah.
Like, you just...
I know I did, but I'm just saying, like, why would you switch your grade?
Because I just said it was corny.
Okay.
That was my problem with this.
Okay.
It's just the whole feel of this. Like, it's not... I don't care about the nostalgic references. One way or another, they are what they are.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the long run, it's going to hurt them more than it's going to help them to rely so heavily on puns like that. On the other hand, this song is just nothingness. It's a box of nothing burger. And that's my problem with it. When Webby started me off with Raw Thoughts, and I was hooked line and sinker. And a few songs along the way have been truly stellar. But given that this is just random, every song is a random experience, it doesn't matter if I like the last song. That doesn't make this song better, and it irrelevant of the other songs on this album. It's irrelevant of Webby's experience. This song was boring to me. 3.5 on 5.
Yeah, I also like didn't love this song. I kind of I didn't love the beat. Like if it's true that beat is related to the Where the Wild Things Are movie, then that's kind of cool. The problem is he didn't even really like carry the concept that focusedly. He kind of like jumped back and forth and was all over the place. He has, point where he's Kylie and Chloe and Miley and Zoe Saldana, Natasha Legara, Madonna, Kalah, and Josie the Pussycats.
No, but
like,
there is multiple monsters, so the women could be representation of the monsters he has to deal with. And throughout the book and in the movie, they do kind of jump back and forth between the kid's dream world where the monsters are and the real world where he has to deal with his mother and his problems.
Okay, let's say that the track is a beautiful representation of the movie.
I'm not trying to like say anything. I'm just saying like this is how I feel it's connected.
Your connections may be super apt.
The book is like a big cultural thing. I've not seen the movie, but my understanding is it's not super well rated. The book though is a big thing, and I don't think that even if what he was going for was trying to like make a reference to it, I don't think he does a good job of doing it justice. It's not focused enough for me. I gave this a 3.6.
I gave it a 4. I like it. I like the sample, the beat.
Understood.
I like the sound, and you guys know I've been defending it. So
yeah, you actually made a compelling point to why this song isn't stupid. Is it less corny? Nope, still is corny. You know what's pretty cool though?
Nightcrawler?
Maybe, but like I'm talking about the X-Men. We're not talking about like.
Living dead thriller mobbing. Damn, I'm such a night crawler. Damn, I'm such a night crawler.
I want to make a quick comment about placement. He totally grouped like-minded songs together, and for that, that's cool because he does make this collection of songs have a certain flow. So we're still on the creepy nighttime songs, and to me, as in I didn't care enough to dig deep enough on this one. It's an ode to the creepy side of the nighttime, where the weed smokers and the witchcraft is all prevalent at the same time. And I like the hook. It's really the only part of the song I really like. I don't see no sunshine, all I see is moonlight today. Anyway, I can't sing. Wake up when the night fall, I just let the stars guide my way. It's nice. That part is really cool. The vitamin D deficiency is kind of a stupid line, and a few other things. Like, I get what he's trying to do, but I feel like, again, it kind of came off a lot more corny than, like, I think he was trying to go for with this, like, eerie. And he does do the descriptive thing really well. And he does do, like, everything that you're supposed to do on this kind of song, except sell it to me. So he failed at selling the concept of the song to me, that he, as the artist, was the believable force pushing the song forward. And, but I did like it more than the last one. I'm basically just ended up, the beat's whatever. I love the hook. It's a 4.
I actually don't know if I agree about the creepy feel. For me, that's not what I like drew as him going for. To me, this song is about, being like a night owl, a person who lives solely in the night. And, the beat works to that effect. It's these chill drums mixed with this kind of like wub electronic-y bass and a keyboard. It's, and then like Webby's talking about how he's a nocturnal animal. I thought the vitamin D deprivation reference was like fine. I thought that totally fits the narrative of the song of like, because I'm not in the sunlight, I'm not getting vitamin D. And then he pushes forward, don't need daylight savings time, trying to lead a generation, follow me up into space, and then I'm using the constellation navigation out to my destination. If it gets too dark to use echolocation, follow my senses on out from the basement. He makes some Goosebumps and R.L. Stine references. Like, it's not, I don't think it's like by any means like a masterpiece, but I think he does stick to the concept a lot better. I think the song is structured better, and I actually enjoy the production. So I give this a 4.1.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the way he carries the lines and the rhymes. I'd love to see Webby just drop like 18 tracks about something as opposed to the constant week over week thing. I think that's what my feeling is at this point on the album, because he's got some shit tons of talent sitting there, and I think just watching him back in the right cause, getting this sense of Webby representing something at the end of the album would be like, and maybe his actual albums give you that sense, and it's on me for having not bumped that shit yet. But, we do a lot of albums. Sometimes we have very limited bandwidth. Anyway, Christopher.
I like this song. I like listening to songs to artists when they start talking about nightlife and what they see during the nightlife. I've always worked at night. I've always had evening jobs. I'm not really a day or sun person either. So I really kind of felt this song on a different level. I understand the weird things that he's kind of referencing throughout his environment or what he sees. I kind of understand like the weirdness of the dark and the night, and just also the peacefulness and the quietness of the dark and the night, knowing that you can be on your own, knowing that you can just be by yourself and not have to feel like you're in this rush race or this busy life. Things are kind of quieter at night. So I can understand that. And I gave this song a 4 on 5 because I think that if you're coming at it from a perspective where I'm assuming that Webby's coming at it, I would think he's talking about like the streets and like how he's putting in work at night and he's like, living time in the basement and all this stuff. But if I'm gonna come at it from a perspective of how I see things, somebody who runs the streets at night in terms of coming home late after work and seeing the different types of people on buses and metros.
When you say run the streets, do you mean gangster shit?
No, I mean like I just meant like run the streets at night. Like I'm coming home late after work. It's like midnight. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. When I was younger, I used to take buses at like 12:30 and get home at like 1:30. So
you literally mean be out in the streets at night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like literally just be out in the streets doing whatever. And I've seen, the shady people at bus stops. I've seen the shady, the weirdness of what could happen on metros and buses, and I can appreciate what he's trying to do here. So 4 or 5.
Okay. You know what I appreciate a lot more? A good substance-filled song like University of Life, because
Yes.
you get to learn at educational facilities.
Semester after semester, life is a long road. You gotta take some risks, but if you live in danger.
I fucking think this might be song of the album for me because I love some good, feel good, teach you some shit tracks.
Yeah.
That Madi Wolf, dope chorus. Just putting it out there. But really, it's the lyrics, like something, and it's just they hit really home. Like study history. Learn from the mistakes of those who came before you so you can make it through life differently. And take economics, a business class if you got it. Had to learn that for myself when people got up in my pockets, because the school of hard knocks is full of roadblocks and potholes, and semester after semester, life is a long road. And I spent like the better part of the last couple of years like just studying history, specifically histories of businesses is one of my biggest fetishes right now. Like, the story of this company and that company, and I've been reading books and just learning and trying to get my knowledge on. So not just like aimless factoid bullshit, but like real knowledge. Like, how did so-and-so go from being poor to being great? How did so-and-so... And anyway, that's what I think he's trying to convey. And if you study these types of things, you avoid making the mistakes of fools. And that is the premise of fucking wisdom. Anyway, loved it. Very interesting. And I like the fact that he's telling you to take a business class. Because I don't know how many people I know get bored by math. And let me put it to you like this. If you don't know math, if you don't understand algebra, good luck in the next decade. You're just fucked. So you should probably start learning your math and algebra now and figure it out, because otherwise you are just fucked in the AI revolution. And I love the fact that he's kind of pushing knowledge on people in light of all that. Anyway. And then like another one was dope was, as taxes in my business expenses became tuition, ain't no wishing on a star, real life comes at a cost, so crawl before you walk and listen more than you talk. And like, I know y'all think I'm a big talky asshole shit, but I do, and I know when to shut my mouth and to keep my head down, and when I'm in the presence of people who have shit to say, to just be wise. And it's taken a long time, but to learn how to do it. And just this idea of how he's correlating the business of his music, of his projects, to the idea of the real education you're not getting taught. Oh, this sounds beautiful. It's like laced with real wisdom that anybody, whether or not you are in the entertainment industry, can take snippets out of, because what he's saying applies to fucking everything. This track to me is a 5 on 5. It meant a lot, and it's probably the most powerful song on the album to me.
I agree with that sentiment completely. And I think this song is one of his best written songs, if not his best written song. First of all, the production's good and it suits the song pretty well. You've got like these like almost retro synths, these choirs, this electronic bass, but the real core to this is the lyricism. And what Webby does here that is exceptional. First of all, he walks over a potentially dangerous ground, which is he's almost kind of like trying to like I'm teaching you about life. When you take on that role of teacher, it can come across as pretentious and arrogant. Like if you want an example of that, Hobson's Fly, you know, where he starts off the track and has this reference to, did the man who invented college go to college? Okay then. And it's like, you know, and Hobson is like often heavily berated for that line. It's very easy to come across as kind of like this arrogant person who's not really saying that much. Webby does not do that. And in fact, what he does that's so brilliant, I find, is he takes this idea of education puns and just having constant education puns about different subjects, but using these puns to progress the narrative. And it's really well put together because the narrative is talking about him becoming humble, realizing the value of education and learning, and recognizing that whereas in the past he might have ignored school, there's a lot to learn, and that you're missing out on this huge opportunity by not picking up on these things. But he's doing it in this fun way at the same time. Like some of the lines that I enjoyed were, if it loads properly, gotta study psychology so you read in people properly and learn to see the world through the perspective of philosophy. I've always loved anatomy, I mean understandably, but I played it safe cause I ain't ready for family. Cause I'm working on myself and that's the mission. As taxes as my business expenses became tuition. Ain't no wishing on a star, real life comes at a cost, so crawl before you walk and listen more than you talk. Wow, like really
that's all I can say.
You know,
what, it's lit?
It's fire.
It's fire.
Lit.
It's fire. I give this a 5, and I think that this shows the kind of potential that Webby has as a songwriter and a rapper.
It's just, I respect the fact that he's trying to be a late 20s, early 30s dude.
Yeah.
Anyhow. All right, Christopher. You need to say stuff too. It's your turn.
I don't take what Webby says on this album as solid. I take it as his perception and what he's doing and what he wants to present to us. He's very smart. He is.
Okay, what are you trying to say?
The song's a 4.5 on 5.
But why? Like, I don't know what you were saying.
It's because I don't want to. I don't want to discredit the song. I enjoy what he did. I just don't like the song. It's a 4.5 on 5. Right. It's great writing, great message. The way it was produced is beautifully. I'm going to skip over this. I would listen to something else.
That's okay.
Like, that's all I'm trying to say without trying to sound like I hate it.
There is a high level of irony to that I'm just going to let everyone sit on, and you don't have to. It's okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
Any ideas? Anything else to add to that?
Nope.
All right, let's go on with Little Man.
Sitting by the water in the sand, building castles till.
Anyone else find this super beautiful?
Yeah, this was great.
Beautiful. Like, really caught me off guard. I don't know. Like, it's really nice. It's got like the water sounds in the beats and just the overall ambiance that comes with it. You get this sense of like the potential of like him as a kid or something, or maybe he's speaking to a younger person in his life, and just it's there. Go out there and reach it. You know, like never see the world if you stay up on the playground. Can't see the stars if you stay indoors. Can never have it all if you don't want more. Can never have light if you don't enjoy the darkness till it shines so bright you can't feel the sun. And I really love specifically can never have it all if you don't want more. And this is something like I go back and forth in my life with a lot of people because I'm one of those who knows exactly what the fuck I want to do with my life, and I've noticed most people do not. And when you believe you can achieve your dreams, you start thinking in macro potential. You start dreaming fucking big. And then you start realizing most people just don't even believe they can achieve half of what they're capable of and stuff. And that particular line is just like, fuck, go for gold. Because if you do, like you can't even have it if you can't even dream. Anyway, it's just so true. It's so powerful of an idea. Or another one I just thought was lovely was use your time wisely while you have it, because tomorrow never stays, and yesterday's just a page in a book of life. And it's like, you don't want to flip through your pages and be like, woke up, did the same thing. Woke up, did the same thing forever. Because, you know, days are gone. And it's like, when I was younger, I didn't appreciate time at all. Now I value time as the most important asset and commodity of my life, and I just, this song is beautiful. Anyway, it's really pleasurable, pleasant. 4.5 on 5. Smooth, calmer flows. It's not like he's trying to floss his talent in the rhythm section so much as his vocal expressiveness is just lovely.
Yeah, I really like this. So this is, I think, the second ska or reggae song on the album. The first one I really disliked. This one I really liked. I mean, first of all, you've got this great uplifting mood this time with the acoustic guitar upstrokes. It could even be like an electric guitar during the hook. I love the little background melody of like this children's Jack in the Box, like to kind of paint a cute, intentionally clumsy portrait with music. And then, as fucking weird as it is, that trap beat with ska is actually an interesting mix. It
works.
It's a blend of styles I never would have thought would work, and it works. It sounds unique. He's got these lines about kind of growing up and letting go of old dreams. Neverland, Peter Pan, getting old, sandcastles watching away when the tide comes in. The song is like quite well written, quite well put together, and it super fits the tone. I give this a 4.5. I really like this.
I like the Little Man title. Before that, the beat's great. The song is amazing in what he's trying to say. And what I got from it in regards to the Little Man title is, I feel like Webby's trying to explain that there's always somebody who can teach you something, and you're going to be the little man to that person. So what I mean by that is,
that was actually really clear. I mean, sorry, go on, explain it. I'm not supposed to interrupt you. Keep talking.
I'm 24 and I have people who are 30 going, don't worry, little man, you're going to make it. You can do better. And that's the same thing that happened when I was 15 and the same thing that happened when I was 9 and 5. So I'm pretty sure y'all get my point.
Yes.
And it's just, it's nice. It's uplifting. It gives you that sense of remembering that we're not old. We're still young. And that's also what I took from it. It's like when somebody older than you looks at you and goes, don't worry, little man, it kind of gives you that reassurance, like, holy shit, like, if you think I'm a little man, then that means I still have time. You must think that you're running out of time. I don't know, that's how I feel. Like, I kind of feel reassured, like I'm still young, I'm still little, I haven't reached my peak, and I can still get to it, and I can still achieve what I'm trying to achieve, so 4.5 on 5.
Sorry, did you want to add to that? Because I have something I wanted to add to.
I wanted to just say, and the best way to achieve your goals can be found in University of Life. Go on, Ryan.
The other thing I had wanted to say, and I just forgot because it's not written down, but I got this kind of sense from this song, especially with the like Neverland, Peter Pan references and some of the other stuff. It almost feels a little bit like the song is kind of talking. It's interesting because it's almost reflective and it's about growth, but it's almost at the same time about having your foot in two different places and trying to take, understand that change happens, time is limited, and sometimes you do have to leave the childhood dreams behind, but you also can seize upon them in the moments that you have them. There's kind of like a little bit of ambiguity to some of it that I quite like.
Fair. Awesome. I think there's one more song on this, and it's featuring the homeboy Jitta on the track. I just like that. I hate the on the track part, but I like the Jitta part. Campfire.
Out around the campfire all night, just trying to find my way.
So Campfire is this track where you've got kind of this harp being played slowly, climbing higher, and it's combined with this slow trappy beat. I think the harp's pretty nice. And at the same time, you've got, Webby talking about how his therapy is making music. It's like recreational therapy, right? Put my soul up on the page as I judge myself. Cigarettes and cocaine, I don't trust myself. Drinking whiskey for the pain. A blunt might help lacking self-respect with all the love I get. Why I can't find a way to love myself. I quite enjoyed the feeling of this song, and I thought that the theme is pretty good. Like, I like the writing of it a lot. Unfortunately for me, it's one of those like weird things where I would have given this track more but I just did not like that rattlesnakey trap sound. Like, there's some trap songs in this album I enjoyed. This was not one of them. That beat kind of detracted from me, but I still enjoyed the song nonetheless. I gave it a 4.5. Because I think... What, you thought that's too high?
Oh, keep talking.
Because I did think that he hit on some real stuff in here, and I thought that it was pretty raw stuff. But aside from that,
Nice.
So I agree with everything you just said in terms of what the content is and why the song is interesting. I really dug the line. I'm just trying to hide my pain as a hydroplane till my tires strain in the left lane with a depressed brain. Calling my doctor up, hoping my meds came. Another panic attack, feeling my chest tight. Can't even see the road, losing my head like I know. It's an amazing song. What he's dealing with, and again, it lets you go inside of his head. But fuck, was I bored? I was so fucking bored listening to this almost 6-minute song. And it just did that the whole way through. Jitta's okay. Jitta is on the track, as we know. And literally, I got so little out of this song. Not because of the lyrics, but because the energy. I mean, I guess it serves its purpose as the closer of sorts because it's calmer and it brings you down. But, like, Little Man was fucking beautiful. And this just did not do it for me in the same way. I'm giving this a 3.5. It's technically proficient, but fuck was it boring. While still saying all the dope shit that Ryan expressed, because he's not wrong. But that's not enough.
You know what you just made me think of? You remember how you were saying a little earlier that he has this way of, like, grouping songs together?
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because on Little Man, as I was saying a little earlier, you know, there's always continuation. You can grow up. You're going to do better, blah, blah, blah. And then here on Campfire, I kind of got this feeling of, like, after he's been told that he can do it and he can make it and he can all this, he's kind of reminiscing about where he is right now. I like the Campfire outdoorsy feel. The rattlesnake trap beat was actually really interesting to me. I was like, that's a cool way to go about the feel. I've been camping multiple times. I get these moments around campfires where you start discussing with friends, discussing with family, certain aspects of your life, certain things that you've done or whatever. So I understand that type of feel as well from the song. And again, I just really like how he went from kind of like being able to be supported and then kind of reminiscing of where he is now. Like, he doesn't feel like he's got the time, maybe. He's running out of time. So I gave this a 4 out of 5.
I think that does fit in pretty well, too, with the last song. Because, as I said, I feel like the last song is sort of... It's a little ambiguous to... It's not necessarily fully positive. It has a little bit of a sense of, like, time is fleeting and, you know, childhood does get wiped away as the water comes and washes away your sand castles of idealization. So I think it does kind of flow pretty nicely into this track.
Which is totally true. That doesn't make Campfire more interesting. Sonically, it was a sonic thing for me. It had nothing to do with the content. It was just the sounds and the choices. Anyway. Is that it? Are we all done then? Does that mean we get to wrap up this lengthy album review? I don't know what the final time is, but I know we're far in. So
3-hour review.
No, it's not that bad. Basically, I'm gonna give this album a 4.2-ish because I lowered one of my grades, so I don't have the final. Let's say 4.25. It's pretty fucking solid. I think it does an excellent job of showcasing Mr. Webby as a talented MC with all the potential in the world. What I am going to do now is go listen to some of his other projects and see what he's like on an actual album, what it feels like glued together, and hope that 2018 is the year of Webby. I would love to see this guy pop off and actually make some real splashes out there. I can see, like, Webby and Kendrick, and that would be dope. Anyway, super into this album.
Nice.
In the sense of what it was. There was enough songs here, and it's enough of a grab bag of random that I think you should go check it out. And as you can see, we couldn't agree, so evidently you might find something you find dope.
I actually have a hard time imagining Webby and Kendrick anytime soon, but I do have to say that I think that what makes Webby an interesting artist is his versatility, his ability to go along with a lot of different styles, but it's also a little bit his weakness. There's this sense that he could use more focus, and obviously this is not intended to be like a cohesive album. I do think, though, that is the thing that would benefit him most as a next step. I want to see what Webby does with a complete project, trying to like move forward similar concepts. You know,
Moderately okay kid, not so bad city.
That's actually really good. I like that so much.
What did you give the album?
So, yeah, I think that like a 4.2 is actually pretty much on par with what I was thinking as well. Just because there's a lot of really good songs on this as like singles, but you know, as a full cohesive album, obviously it's not even intended to be that, and it's kind of like what I consider when I'm rating albums. But I do think that Webby is a very interesting artist. I think he probably has a really bright future ahead of him if he continues on the path he's going down, because he really is defining this interesting style of like nerd pop rap that I think is like, it's the right climate. He's like tapped into something that's about to blow up. So we'll see what happens.
Nice. Album's cool. Webby is clearly talented and has a lot of shit that he wants to say and a lot of things that he wants to get off his chest. My only thing is, I want to, like these guys, I want to see a full project.
He's got a bunch.
I'll go take a gander at his other projects, but I would like to see more of Webby in 2018. And I do kind of want to see what an actual project would be. Again, I might sound redundant, but
it's all good.
As of the album, they're all kind of singles. He drops them every Wednesday, whether it's per month, per week, however he decided to do it. So I felt like this is just all singles. Together, it only landed at a 4.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been lovely. We enjoy you. If you just showed up, a quick, fun reminder. If you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment, you enter into our contest, which I describe at the very beginning of the video, so you may want to roll that back. And anyway, thank you all, because your comments are dope. You are all amazing people. We think you're all Superman, all of you. You're all my Superman, like Scrubs would say. You know, like JD and Scrubs. That's not even the right thing anymore. You know what? It's late. Goodbye. Tell us what you think about Webby.
Last thought, yeah. What do you think about Webby? What did you think about this album? Are you familiar with his past work? If yes, then how does this compare to his other projects? Let us know.
Let us know, yo.
And have good times.